Hi, I'm Carl Lanning from Brazos River Charter School with This Week in History, specifically December 8th through 14th. So, December 8th, 1965, the very first televised Charlie Brown Christmas special. It's been on pretty much every year since, and I gotta admit, it's one of my favorites. I never miss it. Hope you don't either. Let's see, on December the 8th of 1991, the Soviet Union effectively collapsed. Officially, it wouldn't be for another 2 weeks, but the writing was on the wall. Gorbachev, along with the leader of the Ukraine and Belarus, signed an agreement to dissolve the USSR. Although this did present challenges of its own, the Cold War was over and the good guys won. I was curious how many of you remember doing duck and cover drills in school along with tornado and fire drills. Those must have been some kind of deaths that were going to protect us from the H-bomb. You know, also, if you ever get the chance, it's worth it. Look up on YouTube, Bert the Turtle, Duck and Cover. I'm pretty sure I actually remember watching this as a film to tell you how to survive an attack by the H-bomb. So, anyway, duck and cover. It's well worth it. Oh, what else do we have? Well, actually, yeah, on this date, on December the 8th of 1980, John Lennon was murdered. John Lennon was leaving his home in the Dakota, is the name of an apartment building in the city of New York. These were the glasses he was wearing that day. And this is really a creepy photograph. A man by the name of Mark David Chapman had been stalking him essentially for 3 days. As Lennon was on his way out, Chapman asked him if he would autograph a record album for him. That's Lennon autographing, that's Chapman. About 5 hours later, when Lennon was headed back home, Chapman pulled out a pistol and fired 5 times. It was a .38. Struck Lennon 4 times and killed him. After Chapman was disarmed, he very calmly went and sat down on the curb as if he were just simply waiting to be arrested with his autographed copy of John Lennon's latest album in his hands. This is one of those things that for me, I was a big Beatles fan, so it really sticks in my head. I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing when I heard the news. I was watching a Monday night football game and Howard Cosell interrupted the broadcast to announce Lennon's death. When he did so, I went to a radio to see if I could find out a little bit more. I'm guessing that for a lot of us, and I would really like to see this in the comment section, if there's something like this for you, where you remember where you were and what you were doing when you heard the news, put it in there. For me, when Elvis died, I was swimming with some cousins. When the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan, I was walking to a junior high English class. The Space Shuttle Challenger, I was standing at my high school locker. The fall of the Berlin Wall, I was in college, I was fixing dinner after work. So in the comments section, I'd really love to see if there's something like that that sticks in your mind. Please let me know what it is, I'm really curious. And then, finally, December 14th, 1799, George Washington died at the age of 67. Now, the days preceding his death, he had been marking some trees that were to be removed on his property. Very raw weather, rainy, a little sleet, a little snow. He came back, he developed a fever, complained of a sore throat, had trouble breathing and swallowing. It's impossible to tell exactly what it was with the throat, but a lot of modern physicians have gone back and looked at the notes of those who are in attendance, and the number one candidate is strep. However, that does not tell the entire story. Washington was a believer in bleeding as a cure. Now remember, this is in the days of the 4 humors, and you had to keep the 4 humors in balance. If you had a fever, you had too much blood. Washington had used this before to great success, he thought, and so he decided to do it again. Unfortunately, physicians at the time didn't seem to have a particularly good idea of how much blood there was in the human body. In a 16-hour period of time, 8 pints of blood was drained from Washington's body. Now, age, height, sex, all have a lot to do with how much blood you may have in your body, but it's pretty safe to say that in that 16 hours, 8 pints, about 2/3 of George Washington's blood was removed. This had to have greatly compromised his body's ability to fight the infection. So unfortunately, a very sad way to go. He died within 2 days of the onset of symptoms. Well, folks, that's it for this week in history, but I will let you know what's coming up is next week. We will find out what the big deal is about this rather small but extremely rare and extremely valuable box. Until then, I'm Carl Lanny and this is Brazos River Charter School, and we look forward to seeing you right here next week.